Okay, so once you download the Syntel project files, you're going to see that there's 3 folders. The first one is the Syntel trailer script, which if you want to do the voiceovers for, they've got timing so you can actually queue up all your voiceovers. The second one is the Syntel trailer. This doesn't have any audio. You can watch this trailer online, but I really advise you not to watch it online until after you finish the project. Otherwise, you're going to be hugely influenced by some of the techniques that the actual professionals use. And finally, you have the Logic work files. If you double click on the Logic work files, inside of this you have your normal Logic folders, and then right in the middle you have the file that says Syntel. If you double click on this and open up Syntel, you'll be presented with this template file. Now, up on the left hand side you can see there's an icon of the movie, and then in the middle you can see that there's a film strip. If you press play, you can see that on the left hand side the movie's running, and in the middle there's the film strip. Everything is synchronized inside of Logic. If you want to make this film strip bigger, all you do is double click and it will bring up a full size picture. You can make this as big or as small as you want to, just to show you. And once again, everything is synchronized. If I press play down here, everything plays. You can see it's all synchronized here, synchronized here. If I press stop here, everything stops. Next, let's look at the layout of Logic so you can get familiar with it. Let's close this video window. And you notice as soon as you close it, it goes back up here. On the left hand side, you have your mixing channels. You have your volume control, you have your pan control. Volume controls how loud a channel is going to be. Panning controls whether that sound comes out of the left speaker or the right speaker. Above this, you have the instrument that you're going to use. There are many virtual instruments within Logic, and we'll have a look at them briefly. You have your sends and insert effects. These include reverb, delay, chorus, distortion, compression, gating. We will go through this. And then above that you have your EQ. If you double click on the EQ, you can control the frequencies within the sound itself. Once again, we'll come on to that. Now, after that you have your channel strip. In the channel strip you can have multiple channels up to probably, I don't know, 99, maybe even more. If you press this little plus icon, you can add more channels. If you press the icon next to it, the channel that you've got selected will be duplicated. Okay? So that's a nice trick. If you want to double up layers, that's something you can do. However, let's go to the plus icon and add new track. From this you can add the number of tracks. So if you want to add 10 instruments you can. You can choose the type, whether it be an audio. So when you're doing your voiceovers you can add an audio track, and when you're laying down your music you can use the software instruments. So once we've assigned the number, once we've assigned it to instruments, once we make sure it's coming out of our headphones, we press create. Now you can see you've created 10 instruments. Okay, now let's look at how you assign a sound to an instrument track. Here are the instruments that we've just created. If you select one of them and then come over to the right hand side, you should hopefully see this long list of different folders. Each of these folders contains lots and lots of sounds. Now if you don't see this, make sure you've got the library tab open. If you don't see this panel at all, make sure you've got the media button selected. Okay, and once you've done that, select the appropriate sound that you want and click on a sound. That will load, might take a couple of seconds to load. Now if you've got a MIDI keyboard active on your computer, you can now press the keys and you'll be away and you should be able to hear sounds. If you haven't got a MIDI keyboard connected to your computer, press the caps lock key and you will get a mini keyboard based around the letters on your keypad. Now if I press the letter A, this will trigger a sound, currently set to pop strings smooth. I press multiple keys. That's quite nice. Okay, if I want to try a different sound, I just come down to a different folder or a different icon and select a completely different sound, and then trigger the same letter, A again. Now I've got an organ. And so on. Okay, I'd like you to pause the video now and experiment with the various sounds available to you. Okay, welcome back. Now let's look at how to put in that data. There's a couple of ways. Firstly is to record it in live. So let's have a look at that. I'm going to go back to my caps lock, bring up my keypad, and I'm going to come down to the very bottom where you have the playback controls. You have your rewind to beginning, rewind, fast forward, stop, play, pause, and record. So let's press record. And now I'm going to press A. And press stop. So now you can see that I've just recorded a piece of MIDI data. MIDI data is really fantastic. The reason for this is because although I've just recorded that in, I'm not fixed to it. So like audio, if I record it in, the only way of making it better is to delete and start again or use processing. But with MIDI, everything can be edited. The easiest way of getting to the MIDI is via the piano roll. Click on the piano roll and it brings up all of that data that you've just recorded in. Okay, so just to show you again, piano roll's down here. You can open it or close it on this tab. Here are the notes I've just played in. Let me zoom back out. Play that again so you can see it. Okay. First thing I can do is put this one in time. So I can just nudge it left to right. Now you'll see that it's not snapping properly. When I say snap, it means putting it onto the grid, quantizing if you want. There's a reason for that. Up in the snapping options, it's currently set to smart. My preference is to set it to divisions or ticks. So if we set it to divisions and then click on it again and then set it to snap to absolute value. Okay, so divisions, snap to absolute value. You can also do this in the main window as well. So divisions, snap to absolute value. Now when I move it, it will snap to the grid. Okay. Another thing we can do is make the notes longer or shorter. Coming over to here, so we'll move it into position first by clicking on the middle of it, and then if I hover over the end I get a different icon. So if I'm in the middle I get the arrow, which means I can move it, and then if I hover over the end or the beginning I get these little arrows, which means if I click now I can extend it, and that's the same with the beginning. Okay, so there's another thing I can do, move it around, make the note longer, make the note shorter. I can also move the pitch. So come to another note, snap it to value, you can hear it going up. Okay, time to pause the video again and just experiment with recording in some live data and then manipulating it in those 3 ways. Okay, thank you for watching this video. Now it's your turn. Below the video you will see a task list of all the activities to complete before moving on to lesson 2. Once these activities are complete, feel free to move on. See you in the next lesson.